Okay, let's look at another case of nonfiction books. Can't believe life sometimes. It's just so crazy. Anyway, you could say that almost any day, couldn't you? All right, let's look at some books. This is definitely a book I want to read. This is like one of those bits of suppressed, forgotten history that you hear so little about. But so much modern American wealth goes back to this. Oh, China recognized that opium was destroying its country, like fentanyl is destroying America right now, and made it illegal and made it punishable by death to sell, et cetera, et cetera. And what did foreign countries do? Get in the biz. Start selling to the Chinese people. There's an area of my town, Nob Hill, and I remember growing up thinking it meant noble or something. Like, oh yeah, it's a rich part of town, you know? But no, it was originally it meant Nabob Hill. It was named after San Francisco's Nob Hill by DKB Sellers, its founder. There's a famous photo of him standing by a sign with just nothing but dirt around. But the nabobs were people from America and England, etc., that became very wealthy selling opium around the world. And came back here with it. You know, there really are different kinds of drug dealers. You know, this is why I wanted The Wire to go on for a couple more seasons. I wanted them to just keep going up the ladder. Get blurry, you know. They started to do that. And it told a contained story that showed. It's a good show. All-time great show, really. But I need to read this. I admittedly have a very limited thing on it. But recently reading Sherlock Holmes's stories, the mentions of opium are so common. Hi, kitty. What's up? Morning. There's a couple of opium bottles that I own that are historic from this part of the country. Laudanum bottles, to be precise. Opium mixed with alcohol. Very popular. Brought by Chinese immigrants initially to America, opium. It quickly escaped that cultural subculture. Here. Everyone should read The Chinese in America by Iris Chang. That is such a good book. You'll never see American history the same way once you read that and realize the importance. And just the way that this whole like nationality and culture were treated as just disposable. I mean, we still have phrases in the American vernacular like, you don't have a Chinaman's chance in hell. I mean, probably nobody says it anymore, but like it's something we've all heard from old movies or something. And it's because they were just treated as disposable workers. Oh, we need to dynamite a railway tunnel? These have maker's marks. I would think that puts this in like the 1920s probably. I think that's an Ohio maker's mark. I got really into glass for a minute. I had 3 of these. One was found by a plumber friend under a house in Albuquerque. One I found at the north end of the Sandias. And one I found in a park near Highland High School after a rainstorm with a bunch of other bottles. It's just an old trash pile from like the 20s surfaced up. I had 3, but I brought them to high school where I was subbing because we were talking about opium and its role in history after reading Sherlock Holmes. And this kid, you know, I try to be fair to all young people, but like I have nothing good to say about how this person acted. This person was so indifferent, so uncaring that he just like let it roll out of his hand onto the floor and didn't even apologize to it. And when I got a little bit indignant about it, he was like, I said my bad. Like, dude, you just broke an antique object that I had that I like entrusted this class. I was stupid for bringing it to a class, but give me a break. I hope that guy has a moment of clarity somewhere or feels embarrassment about it throughout his life as he remembers this. Give me a break, dude. You should just be ashamed if you ever encounter this video, how you acted that day. I was like, everyone, let's thank this guy for giving us a lesson on entropy, you know? Everything breaks eventually. Thank you for that lesson. I was like, do you act like this with your family? Do you like just do something bad and hurtful and make people feel really bad and then just don't say anything? And like, give me a break. Got a few more things to say about that guy. Cut to, this video is 50 minutes long. Anyway, Let It Go. I've heard a song about that. Look at this wild cover. Chinese Opium Wars. Who's this on the front cover, I wonder? Oh, I have to read this. China has opened up as the cliche used in history books in referring to China in the 19th century, as if this ancient civilization had been a large and juicy oyster. Chinese oyster was in season during that century when British businessmen were under great pressure to expand trade to pay for China's tea and silk. The knife that pried open China's shell was opium. By guile, bribery, and violence, the drug habit was so successfully implanted by British and American traders. By the middle of the century, opium became, in cash terms, the largest single commodity traded in the world. Wow. Millions of Chinese introduced to a foreign drug their government banned. Oh, it was a foreign drug. Became helplessly addicted. Traditional Chinese society already under stress. The modern world began to collapse into war and revolution. Wow, I didn't know. I have to read this. I just have to read this. This looks great. 1975. Not sure where this came from. Sometimes I'll get huge selections of books from some collector's collection because someone's cool and gives me a bunch, or I just become aware of them. And I think this was from someone's collection. But I'm so glad to have it. I need to read it. I need to read it before my book is done, because so much of my book has to do, just because it's about the world I live in, with the effects of colonization, etc. I think this is a key element I need to account for and have a better grasp of. And reading this book would be a very good start for me. Oh, this looks fun. And what a pretty book. 17 Contradictions and the End of Capitalism. Looks nice and new, like it was bought new. Yeah, when that kid who was old enough to know better and not do that, and not be a totally checked out person, broke that one. It's also this is also a lesson about be careful if you share what you love with people that don't care about it or you at all, because, you might get hurt. Seriously, dude, you know who you are. Feel embarrassed through the ages. Hope you find this video over the coming years. Squirrel just disappeared into the books with a gap I opened up. Oh, creepy. It hurt. Let's grow. What's up? Psst. Anyway, 17 Contradictions and the End of Capitalism. To modern Western society, capitalism is the air we breathe, and most people rarely think to question it for good or for ill. But knowing what makes capitalism work and what makes it fail is crucial to understanding its long-term health and the vast implications for the global economy that go along with it. I accept the presence of capitalism in our modern society, but I gotta say, not the biggest fan. Maybe I should leave a gap behind these books so you can get back there. Squirrel, how you so cute. I'll never forget this young woman I met in Guatemala a long time ago just saying, I just think we could figure something out a little more creative for the good of the planet. It doesn't destroy our climate. Can we really not address the reality of what is with nuance? I haven't always lived with this system. This modern version really started in the 1600s. New York professor. The world's most cited academic geographer. Ooh, that's a great perspective. I like the geographers and how they think. I'll never forget John Carr's human geography class at UNM. I learned so much from that. This is another one of those books that there's probably some pretty racist people out there that own this, but I'm interested in my ancestry, and a lot of my ancestors come from England. Probably most of them, England and France. Squirrel, what you doing back there exactly? Just checking it out? A little curious? I don't know what y'all saw back there, but I bet it involved a kitty. Tribes of Britain. This is a beautiful book. Who are the English, the Irish, the Scots, and the Welsh? I can't wait to read this. There's a cat meowing outside, and Squirrel and Prismo are very interested all of a sudden. I've been putting food on the porch, and someone's been eating it. I don't know who. Might be this cute little black and white cat that might need a home if anyone's interested. I guess this book came from England. Look at this. British bookshops. Pounds. Yeah, I need to read this one before my book is done too. Just because I have a lot of family history stuff that's coded into it. Layered into it. I really thought I bought this book new at Bookworks. But it's got this sticker on it from British Bookshop. Maybe I bought it used from somewhere. Where? I don't know. It's crazy. Can't remember stuff sometimes. The Tribes of Britain. This is great. I just had this in my car for a long time when I had a car with a tape player and listened to it 3 or 4 times. I learned a ton about Neolithic Europe. Just amazing stuff. The things they built. Why did you make a giant pillar, pyramid? Bigger than the Great Pyramid. That's just incredible. But these great courses series are fantastic. If you have I think they have a streaming app. That's a great way to engage with them. But I've listened to them on cassette and CD forever. I've had so many of these, and they're all wonderful. I think so. I think I've liked them all that I've listened to. Listened to a bunch on linguistics, and a great one on origins of human language. Great one on origins of the English language. This one, the Fall of Ancient Rome. That was a good one. The Odyssey and the Iliad. Those are still kicking around. I've looked at those briefly. I don't even have a cassette player at the moment. So this is, what's here? Reflected in media. How appropriate. That's how it should be. For those of you who are interested in Stonehenge and Avebury, and is it Avebury or Avebury? Avebury. And how they built those, it's just incredible. The meaning of it, what they were like. There are 10,000-year-old bones that have been found, like around England, and they've been genetically tested and linked to living people. Like, these bones were your ancestor, dude, 10,000 years ago. Or lady, or whoever. That's incredible. This is a topic I deeply enjoy, and I'd love to see all those things. I mean, I've been to England before as a kid, but I don't think we ever saw Stonehenge or anything like that. Squirrel, what do you think? Oh, Squirrel loves this. I think I have to leave this open now. We'll figure it out. Hi. Oh, I've been meaning to read this. I have a couple books on Palestine. I'm not happy about what's been happening to them. It's incredibly sad. You know, you can't really look at nonfiction books in a neutral way, you know. So, yeah, I'm pro-Palestine. And, you know, I think Israel has no business over there. But obviously there's nuance to the topic, and I have, Jewish friends that are against what Israel is doing right now. But, it's one of those great modern topics. Yikes. Palestine, Israel, and the U.S. Empire. I've got this and one other book around here, and this one here, and I've been meaning to read them both. You know? I wouldn't have been pro-Rhodesia back in the day, and I'm not pro-Israel now. Yikes. Great. It's like impossible to avoid controversial topics. I really when I started this YouTube channel, I was just like, let's just keep it positive and look at books and blah, blah, blah. Impossible. Sorry. You can't please everybody. And you got to take a stand here and there in your life. And Israel, you're in the wrong. You're very much in the wrong. Get out of there. Half of you aren't even from there. Most of you aren't even from there. You know? But I definitely plan to read these books. I meant to read them this summer for some more nuance and more information. Fact is, nothing began recently. Israel's been doing Nakbas, massacres on the Palestinian people since the 40s. In my opinion, it's a real case of the victim becoming the victimizer and just trauma being carried forward and paid forward. And it's really sad because there is no question that the Jewish Holocaust was one of the greatest, worst, horrible, greatest and hugest in a big sense is what I mean. There's just never been anything like that, and it's horrible. But then for people to follow that up with just, dishing it out on their own, I think that's horrible. I'm not adding these hashtags to the, the video, though, I'll tell you that. Hopefully no one notices this video. No, that's not true. Free Palestine. Stand up for what's right. Genocides are wrong. Slaughtering children for your stupid land grabs are wrong. Yeah. On one level, I don't understand caring about a place that much. I'm literally like an obsessed historian of Albuquerque, and I just can't imagine not leaving if it was in dispute. I would just be like, I don't want to be involved in violent actions. And it's a piece of land. Palestine and Palestinians haven't always had that option. They get corralled into places and then massacred. Sure, you can leave. Go to this refugee camp first. Oh, we're bombing the refugee camp tomorrow, by the way. Ugh. To live in modern times is really, wow. The things my kids have seen, like on TikTok, the atrocities, no wonder they're just boiling over this. You know, like, there are definitely parallels to be made between Vietnam as this televised series of atrocities and people just suddenly being aware of what war looks like and massacres and genocide look like. There is a genocide going on right now, folks. There's more than one on this planet, sadly. Congo's got some horrible things happening too. But I know these books would educate me a lot and give me more context. In particular, it looks really fascinating. I got this at a thrift store and was like, must have, because it takes a long view, and that's something that a lot of people lose. You know, even like my daughter was doing a report on things, and her report's events started like a few years ago, and I get it. She's young and all that, but it's nothing started just now. It's all going way back. Sorry if I've lost some fans. Oh well. But the likes. Okay. Here's more where I want to live mentally, emotionally, every which way. The mountains. Mountain Passages, an Appalachia anthology. I've walked through the Appalachians. I've bonded with the Appalachians. My ancestors lived in the Appalachians. You know, recent ancestors, of course. Recentish. 1800s. This is very like trail-centric, it looks like. To know the Appalachian Trail is to love the Appalachian Trail. You know. Death of Meriwether Lewis. So Lewis from Lewis and Clark. He's interesting. He reminds me of some of my favorite people in the world. Was he bipolar or something? I mean, you can't diagnose these historical figures. But when he was out and active and living life and on these expeditions, he was such an inspiring, interesting figure. I mean, I know he was an advanced rank colonist, etc., but such an interesting person. I mean, on his 35th birthday, he vowed to live for mankind as I have heretofore vowed to live for myself, or as I have heretofore lived for myself. And after the expedition, Jefferson awarded him with the governorship of Louisiana, but like, that wasn't him. He was like this cool explorer guy. It didn't fit him, I think, and it doesn't seem like he was ever happy afterward. His death is often called a suicide, but there really are some dubious things around it. And for that reason, I've always meant to read this book. He really could have been murdered. Was he assassinated? In 1809. Governor Lewis perished. Let's see. The legislature it's commonly believed that he was perished by his own hand. It seems to be more probable he died by the hands of an assassin. And who knows, maybe that was just old unease about the topic of suicide. How could this competent person do it? Tons of competent people do. Anyone, you know? The void looms right above us all. You know, we all have the key to our own lives and existence. But again, the phrase that I keep in my pocket that's very useful, just that someone said to me in high school long ago, was, it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Whatever you're going through, however intense it is, whatever you can't afford, whatever you're worried about, it's in a sense temporary. You know, stick around. You have an opportunity. There's probably more people that care about you than you think, you know? And, but yeah, these thoughts can come from anyone. Look at all the kinds of experts in here. Geology of the grave sites, suicide psychology. What an unusual book. Interesting. Very small press, maybe even self-published. River Junction Press. Yeah, Lewis and Clark always will be a topic that interests me. They just are. It's about, you know, it's an origin story for the country in which I live. One of them. One of the origins. On Friendship. This is a great little series. I love these books. On Friendship, a selection. Beautiful hardcover. Kind of a Peter Popper press book. I think these are selections of quotes with illustrations by Eric Carle. What? I'm guessing this is before The Very Hungry Caterpillar. I did not know that. Did he do that front cover? Huh. That's one of the best-selling books of all time, The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Because everyone buys it for babies. I think that last I heard something written about this, it said like 40 million copies have been sold. What? Why do I even try? Why haven't I been working for 15 years on a book? Why didn't I just tape some paper together and make a little story? This guy was mostly an ad designer. I do like the illustrations in here. That's cool. True happiness consists not in the multitude of friends, but in their worth and choice. Ben Jonson. When my friends are one-eyed, I look at their profile. Okay. Joseph Joubert. Okay.